G'day listeners, welcome to Barkarati, the Sailing Podcast. My name's Jordan Spencer and it's that time of the week where we get to hang out with some really cool sailors, but of course I have to share the mic with my two idiot mates, although lately it's only been one, so let's bring in that one.
He had a voice that could make a wolverine purr.
Mr. Nick Boyce, how are you, bud?
So how do you consider this? If you normally do it with two idiot mates, do you only get half the idiotness or double the idiotness? Me being by myself.
Yeah.
With your good self, of course.
Yeah, I don't know. I feel like I feel like BP brings a unique perspective on things, and we're missing that.
Correct.
He always sort of comes out with something. I just go, oh, okay, I hadn't thought of that.
And you know my role there is obviously to rip the piss out of you two. So it's kind of only half the fun.
Half the fun, yeah, I know. We're missing him. I think he's missing us. He is. I think that we expected it to be today, in all honesty. We were going to go and do a full breakdown of the X2 scenario with all the background information. For those who are wondering, we will be the first place to publish anything.
I tell you who's not missing him, though.
Who's that?
I was sent a video from one of the Barkaratians out there, of which must have been, and I looked at the time I received the video, 12:30 Monday morning. And I'm like, oh, this can't be good. There he was, the night before Lay Day in Airlie, playing the guitar, up on stage. So I didn't watch the full video, but I'm hoping he put the intro and outro in.
I love it. So for the competitors at Airlie Race Week, they were getting the live version.
Live version,
wow.
Exactly.
I wonder how much convincing that took. Obviously, that would have been interesting.
Mate, at 12:30 a.m., it'll take bugger all convincing. I'll fucking guarantee that. I would have done it.
Yeah. Well, it's a good lead-in, actually, because Airlie Race Week is a fantastic event held up in North Queensland in the Whitsundays. And it is always held the week before Hamilton Island Race Week.
Mm-hmm. Correct.
And Hamilton Island Race Week is one of those sort of fantasy events that people hear about all around the world. And we thought, why not? It's literally this week, so why not let's just do a little bit of an explanation of what goes on at Hamilton Island.
Well, first of all, what I'll tell you, I'm actually in Hamilton Island now. We've just completed the first, and just to paint a picture, you know the Qualia Resort in Hamilton Island?
Yes, of course.
Yeah, I'm not staying there. No.
They don't let our type in there, mate.
That's right. I have been lucky enough to be there before on someone else's card, let me tell you. But flash joint, and fantastic sailing. And it's fair to say that what's happened in the last couple of years with all these regattas being cancelled, regattas are coming back hotter and stronger. And Airlie was certainly within that realms, and Hamo is this year for sure.
Yeah. Okay. Well, so that's the goal of this episode, is to actually just sort of get in and get in behind Hamo, and let people understand. So, I guess the most important thing is to try and explain the conditions, right? So it's midwinter in Australia, right? What are conditions like there, boss?
Currently, I am sitting in around 24, 25 degrees Celsius. It was 14 to 16 knots out on the racetrack today.
Yep.
Beautiful, nice sou'easter, kind of the trade wind direction. Flat water, whales breaching close to you.
Yes.
And 250 boats on the
start line,
taking part in the race week.
And the water's
pretty spectacular, I've got to say.
Yeah, and the water's probably about 26, 27 degrees Celsius as well.
Yeah, so I think it's, well, put it this way, you're not slipping into your 4 mil wetty to clean the bottom of the boat. So,
yeah. Yeah, no real wet weather gear required for the whole event. So it kind of sounds like paradise, doesn't it? Because as you said, trade winds. Traditionally, it's the end of the trade wind season, so you get the sou'easters coming through. In the next month or so, it should swing back, and it's the genius of the whole event is that the wind swings and you get the northerlies to bring your boat home when in the next few weeks. But traditionally, trade winds, warm water, sunshine. Middle of winter, everyone comes up white from being locked up in their offices, and then it's paradise.
Absolutely,
it's paradise.
Well, actually, the boat next to us, actually, I'm sailing on SMB, the Pack 52 X Rio, the big orange boat, and next door to us is the old SMB, of which is now called Matador, with Rob Greenhouse on board.
Oh, yeah.
And I was just chatting to him, and he's come clean out of a Cows Week.
Yes.
Only a week or two ago.
Yes.
So I'm yet to hit him up. Yeah, would you care to explain a little bit the differences?
Well, Cows Week's in the middle of the summer in the UK, so,
Yeah, so dead winter, basically, for us. But it's sensational, and the trade winds actually, they're going to be here for the whole week. You want me to give a bit of a forecast before we kind of hook in? Or
go for it. It's literally the whole week. There's one sort of week light day, isn't there?
Yeah, there's a light day, which so basically racing started today. It is Sunday. This is when you avid listeners who get straight on the pod would be listening. And we forecast was actually for about 17 to 20. Southeast direction, and ended up being a little bit lighter, but the rest tomorrow looks the same conditions, of which they've thrown in the long race for us. So as part of the format of the week, it's generally, short round the island racing, of which, and one long race, which is generally before the lay day being Wednesday, but it's going to be a little bit lighter on Tuesday. So they've got the long race for us tomorrow. In our class, it's like a 50, 60 miler or something.
Yeah.
And then Tuesday, a little bit lighter, probably 10 to 12 knots. Wednesday is when it starts nuking through.
Yep.
So Wednesday, we are looking at 19 to 24 knots for lay day. It won't really affect me too much unless it blows my rosé over. Actually, I might remind me.
Yeah,
we'll do a little shout out to all Barcaradians lay day. Maybe we could do a little catch up. Okay. Anyway, Thursday 20 to 25. Friday 20 to 25.
Yep. Saturday.
Yep. 25 to 30.
Yep. She's on.
Smoking.
Yep. She's definitely on Saturday. It's the last day of the regatta, and it will be thumping. The other thing to put into that equation for those who've not been to Hamo is there's a lot of tide. So you're racing around. There's a lot of islands, right? So you're racing, you've got Hamilton Island, that you've got Whitsunday Island,
Dent Island, all the islands.
Yep. So you've got quite a lot of islands. You're not far off the mainland, so you do get a lot of compression, and there's a lot of water moving through there. So you get a lot of compression around corners and stuff like that. So you need to be really sort of switched on.
Well, you know how in the UK, pretty much any sailor from the Solent is a navigator.
Yes.
Because they have to be.
Yes.
If you grew up around here,
same
diff. You'd have to be a navigator.
You're all over.
Because you got to be all over. And we witnessed that today. There were some great moves going on by some very experienced people.
Yep.
On something you would not be able to tell was going to transpire.
Yep.
But it's very tricky racing. And then obviously is it a navigator's paradise or a navigator's nightmare? I'm not sure.
Yeah. The likely long course for you is basically a loop around. You sort of come out around the top of Dent, the top, I guess, the north of Dent.
The north, yeah.
And then you've got Pentecost, Workington, Hook Island, Hayman Island, Henning.
basically.
So you've got a sort of little fetch and then smoking long downhill and then along uphill, basically, in the trade winds. So
correct.
Yeah.
So basically a 50-mile windward lord.
Yeah. I guess the other thing that is of importance is, you said it before, 250 boats, right? 2,000 sailors. The entry list is pretty good. All the boats come out to play. So you're in Div 1, I assume? Secret Man?
No, so we're in Div 2.
Div 2.
So there was a lot of discussion around where we would sit.
Mm-hmm.
And originally we were in Div 1, which meant we would have been with the 100-footers.
I thought they were in Div 0.
Namely, in that class now is, so you've got Andu, Comanche, Wild Oats, Stefan,
No Limit,
Alive, Whisper, those guys.
Yeah,
and we essentially, so instead of being the little boat with the big guys, we're now the big guys with some others in the TPs. Well, the 52s for that matter.
Yeah. On the website, it's showing as zeros. They're calling the big boats as zeros.
Yeah,
so
correct. My mistake.
So anything from sort of 66 foot up to the hundreds. The 62 Whispers are 62, isn't it? So, so that'll be, so you got, plenty of boats. There's going to be some fairly spectacular footage coming off there. So you got all the big boats to focus in on. Then you got, in your class, mate, you've got all the contenders basically.
We got 652s who are.
Missing.
And you would argue 4 or 5 of them are pushing their IRC rating as much as they can.
Yeah.
And they're here to walk home with the chocolates.
Yeah, not all the major 52s in town, obviously, but most are. So,
not to mention that we've got the Caro, which we haven't seen before in this short format racing.
Yeah.
Done a bit of stuff in the Caribbean, but ding-dong battle between them and Ichiban.
Yeah, a Boaton 52. Ichiban's the same thing. So it's Max Klink's boat. Be interesting, yeah. They're pretty much sister ships almost in a way,
basically. They haven't painted them the same colour.
So, basically a whole bunch of different divisions there in the IRC. But then it's not just that, though. That's the other thing. It's not just those classes.
It's easy to talk about the pointy end of the fleet in that regard.
Yep.
But not forgetting probably 80% of the fleet make up all the other classes, of which one of them being, no spinnakers in some instances. Yep. And get this, you'd love this.
What?
And there's even an Olex 25 down here, out here sailing.
I do love it. I think that's cool. So there's the trailable yachts, obviously, so the trailer sailors. There's the multi-hulls, and then there's 2 Hamilton Island classes, the multi-hull Hamilton Island class and the Hamilton Island class, which, in all honesty, I'm just assuming is cruising boats.
Well, it's got to do with, I think there's a formula, and it depends on how many glasses of rosé gets spilt whilst racing. They get an accumulation of points going up there, and the quality of the lunch that was served on the day. But you can see on the dock, like the marina is absolutely chockers. But everyone is, and no matter what class you're in, they're just loving life. In saying that, though, I'm not sure how the formula is going to deal with 25 to 30 knots later in the week.
Yeah. There might be a few people just staying inshore and having their rosés there, mate. Because, of course, on Hamilton Island, I guess we'll segue that way. On Hamilton Island, it is a resort, like the Oatleys bought it quite a while ago now, and they've just glammed it up. And so you've got the full swim up bar, the big pools. You've got sandy beaches, where you've got easy accommodation. You've got sort of a food strip. You've got all these cafes and stuff, and the golf carts.
Yes,
the icon of Hamilton
which
Island.
I'm yet to get in trouble with thus far. I think my first Hamilton Island, apart from trying to unwedge a golf cart in the lift of the Reef Resort, I haven't gone that far just yet, but the week's still young.
Oh.
But basically, no cars apart from people like working on the island.
Yep.
The rest is golf carts everywhere.
Golf carts. And there is nothing better than going out and getting around on a golf cart in a little tight community. It is nothing better. Even if it's raining, whatever it's going on, you're happy, mate. Everyone's happy, Like the only time you're not happy is when you get a bit confident and you come bombing down that hill and there's a heavily scraped tree where a few carts have definitely collected, pretty regularly on a few missed corners, I guess, is the best way to describe it.
I reckon there must be like the Golf Cart Chronicles of Hamilton Island, of which would have several verses in it, no doubt. And I'm sure before the end of the week, there'll be some sort of incident taking place. Hopefully not too bad. Which doesn't require ejection from the island. But the island's chockers, mate. She is chockers. You go anywhere, the bakery, the bloody the tavern, the yacht club, she's full to the brim.
The other thing for people to understand, it's not quite a boat show, but there a lot of importers will bring boats up for the event. They're trying to flog. So new cruising boats that they're trying to get into the market. There will be a whole bunch of sort of new boats, your sort of 40, 50, 55 foot range where they come up with prospective clients or that whole thing. So you'll see a lot of cool new boats, cruising boats that you want to get into if you're looking for that sort of thing. So there's a lot of that goes on. There's some pretty funky multi-hulls there. The best way to describe the Australian multi-hull scene is there's people just having a rip, snort and go. Like there's all sorts of crazy, funky devices floating around. And, they're not shy of having a go, some of these blokes, and some of them are just so supercharged. Some are just for cruising, but most of them are. There's a level of intensity in that fleet. They love going fast.
Well, put it this way, we'll bookend it, right?
Right.
You've got your standard, call it a lagoon caravan on water.
Yep.
All the way up to an Orma 60.
Yep.
Just absolutely shredding it. There's actually a few guys here on the Extreme 40.
Yep.
So they basically sailed the whole downwind today with about 2/3 of the front of the boat under the water.
You know who's running that boat? Rowan Veal, I reckon.
Rowan Veal.
Yeah.
So he's trying to get it falling, basically.
Yeah.
Doesn't know. So, and everything in between, from home builds to fantastic plastics. Not a bad way to do it, though.
Yeah. So, from that perspective, she's pretty full bore. Like it's a big event. The other thing that is my favourite thing about Hemo is it's so easy to catch up with old mates. Like you literally, you don't know who's turning up, but you go out and you walk into a bar and there's one of your sailing mates you haven't seen for a few years, and you end up just having the best night, like blokes you haven't seen for 5 years or 6 years that you get on great with, and then you end up having a ton of fun because there's a whole bunch of social atmosphere going on.
Well, you know me, Jordan, I'm not quite really into the social scene. Hence why where I'm currently located, as far away from the tavern as possible, is actually not a bad manoeuvre by the skipper.
Is that right?
Mr. Jeff Betcher. So, no, it's actually, and I've got to do a shout out to the Barcaradians. The amount of people I've run into who listen to the show, and just old mates and stuff is bloody cool. So, yeah, I need to think about doing a little shout out. Maybe I'll do it on the socials. Maybe a Barcaradian catch up, whatever it might be.
The one thing that I guess it's sort of been taken over a little bit in terms of it's not just a sailing regatta. Like all the hoi polloi are there now. All the beautiful people have got sort of these sort of like the Wild Oats Wine's ladies' lunch, and there's all sorts of sort of the champagne companies having their special things, and there's sort of famous chefs there, and there's famous media people, and all the cool people are there. I've never seen them myself. I've never been allowed close to them. But they're there.
So what are you saying? A Baccarati and catch-up won't really fit the scope?
I reckon all I'd suggest, Bud, is just say, right, down at the pool, lay day, and if we had money, we'd buy everyone a few drinks, but we've got none. So
no, we'll be doing something for sure.
Yeah, but so it's quite the event. What about the racing today, mate? What happened? What's going on?
So we in our class had a 30 miler. The bigger boats probably about 40. And then it just kind of just clicked down from there. Essentially, we started in Cat's Eye Bay, headed around the bottom, if you want to call the southern end of Hamilton Island. Big run down around the Moles Islands, and then a big beat home, of which tricky to get across the current and get some relief and pick the shifts and what have you. What was interesting, though, the Orma 60 launched, let me tell you. Yep, just looks so cool. Fantastic boat. Like, just streaks ahead of everything, as you could well imagine. In the big boats, the Andu gave a little touch-up to the Oats today.
Oh, yeah, it's going to be an Andu. Windward Lord's not necessarily in Andu's place, but the Comanche is Andu, is what we're talking about.
Correct, yeah. So they came smoking past us. We were doing 17, probably.
Yep.
They were doing easily mid-20s. Just cruising.
Just cruising.
Unbelievable.
Yeah.
Just cruising. No water over the deck, nothing. And then you don't really get the perspective until you count that there's like 14 people sitting on the rail, and they just look like little ants.
Little ants just go. So with all those big boats there, that you're going to have to say the long race should be for the Comanche, the Andu. You'd think.
I think anything with breeze the
on.
Andu is just, if it can sail in its own water, is going to launch for sure.
I'm not sure who's on board though. So
will be their week.
Going around corners might be their issue. Lack of.
No, they are stacked. Put it this way.
Yeah. Okay.
We have interviewed several people on the podcast over our last 180 odd episodes who are on board. In saying that, I mean, the Oats has got a very experienced team as well.
So backwards.
But the minute that boat can stretch its legs, she is gone.
And then they do have the Baccarati benefit. Go on Baccarati, win regattas. That's
mate. The amount of boats that came up and said, "Can we do this week's episode? Can we do this week's episode? We do this week's episode."
It's yet to go back.
Do the Baccarati Clayton's curse, they call it.
Yeah, it's yet to go bad, I tell you. Yeah. So look, fantastic. So the only problem is with the whole regatta is the long course. It's around could be up to 12 hours. It's a 12-hour time limit, so you could be out there all day.
Well, tomorrow, hence why they've dragged it forward till Monday, when there is plenty of breeze. Maybe 6 hours. We should be done.
But you do get plenty of sun. You get plenty warm, but the tides, there's a lot of tide action, and you really have to be switched on to the tides and the way it flows through the course, and also just not hit anything. Like you've got lots of rocks, lots of little islands floating around out there, so you do have to be.
Not to
on.
mention a few big mammals as well.
Of course,
just
the
quietly.
whales.
Yeah,
the whales.
Which when we had one pop up the other day, about just in training, about 30 meters below us, I'm like, holy shit! Keep an eye out, boys.
Yeah.
So
they love putting on a show, the whales. So
the Oatleys have them dialed in nicely, similar to how Larry Ellison had his whales dialed in at the Sail GP event in San Fran. The Oatleys have got them going on here beautifully.
Yeah, yeah.
They all come in at night, get a bit of krill.
Yeah,
yep. Job well done.
There's probably something I should tell you offline about that whale in San Fran. I think
it was robotic.
No.
Or is working off AI?
No. There was one team had a spotter. There's a lot of spotters, so that if they were doing bad, they were calling it in.
Oh, of course. I mean, the Americans love that stuff.
The other thing, of course, is there's a couple of series trophies as well. So they've got something called the South Pacific Trophy, the Hitchhiker Trophy, and there's the Australian Yachting Championships. So
yes,
the Hitchhiker Trophy is a state team thing. So Australia has a bunch of states, and so the state, it's got, I think it's 2 boats, 2 best performing boats in IRC. So will win the Hitchhiker. So that's between, South Australia, Queensland, Western Australia, blah, blah, blah. The South Pacific is for the international team series. So 2-boat national team. Each nation can only have 1 team, and it's 1 boat from the IRC class and 1 boat from... one with the IRC above 1.16 and 1 with it below 1.16. Right. Yep. And then at least 40% of the crew need to be from that nation. And then, of course, the boats for the Australian Yachting Champs, which, of course, next year will be... where are they going to be next year?
Let me remind you, they'll be held in Port Lincoln, with the long race being the Adelaide to Port Lincoln race, hosted by the Cruising Yacht Club South Australia. So for all those budding teams that want to come, free berthing at the Cruising Yacht Club South Australia, tell them Bicey sent you.
Yeah, the Bicey.
No dramas.
Me.
We forgot one trophy, though.
Oh, what's that one?
It's called the 2 States Trophy. What are the best 2 states to be in? Queensland and pissed.
Yes. Yeah, that's a Queensland ad, that one for sure. So it's a pretty full bore event. It's a ton of fun. I think Airlie is the same. Like I like Airlie a lot because you've got room to escape a little bit if you want.
Yep.
And but you've got more bigger boats. So Airlie's probably more towards the smaller end. And then the bigger end boats come out for Hamo. But that being said, you've got more concentrated smaller boats at Airlie. You've got more concentrated big boats at Hamo, but there's a lot of both still there. Yeah, but it's a great time to be in Queensland. So it's a long way up the Australian coast. So the Whitsundays probably just up above Mackay, near Airlie Beach, straight out, and it's a dream. Everyone asks what it's like. Everyone sort of thinks of it as a fantasy. It's been going since what? Geez, is it 85?
We're into its 30-something year, I believe.
Yeah, and we've had a few years off. It's April 85. So the first few years were in April. First, 8 or 9 years.
Oh, yeah, and then it moved to, a bit of better timing weather-wise.
Yeah, too many cyclones. So you're in the cyclone area up there. So, so she's a good event. It's a good time to be there. Not great for the livers is the honest truth. But, look, everyone's up there. Except for me.
Yeah. Except for you. Exactly, mate. You got to go back and do some work. You've been on the bloody on the tear for the last couple of weeks. So
I know. I've got no leave left, mate. I can't go anywhere. I've got nothing.
Correct.
But that's all right. That's all right. I don't mind. I'm happy to live vicariously through all your stories, mate. But that's cool.
Good. I'll make sure I'll keep posting.
So I guess the final tip. Who's going to win? In your division.
I think the big boat, they don't really care about their ratings at all. Yep. It's all a bit of a
show.
What do we call it? I can't say what I want to say. But basically, who's got the biggest cockpit Let's say that.
We're going to come to your language.
So that's where the big boats are. As for our class, it's going to be massive from what we saw today between Karo and Ichiban to see who takes that out. Karo rates a little bit higher. Who knows? Ichiban just literally has to be right on their transom to get the time. As for us on the SMB, I think we've definitely got potential because we're a bit behind those guys, but a bit in front of the others.
Yep.
So hopefully that opens up to, we had a few stuff ups today, but hopefully that kind of creates ourselves to be in our own water, and who knows. And then as for all the other classes, well, actually, it's all down to the algorithm and the rosé.
Yeah.
No, of course not. There's a bunch of 38s up here. There's a whole bunch of other different one design classes. Yep. Well, I think there's 8 Bavaria 46s sailing against each other.
Wow.
Things like that. So
that's cool.
It's going to be cool to see where it all ends up.
And there is
but
things
I haven't done the form guide.
Yeah. It's impossible, mate. I wouldn't expect anything more, but they do things like best dressed boat parade and all that sort of stuff as well. So there's all sorts of things going on. So you can come for all sorts of different reasons. I'm just interested, with the SMB being it's a pack 52, isn't it?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep.
So does that, given that sort of the west coast of US sort of rule, does she go better downwind than the others? Is that?
Yeah, she's pretty slippery downwind for sure. But let's face it, the Ichiban and the Karo, they're not TP 52s. They're IRC 52s.
Yeah, that's right.
Fully tweaked. Whereas the other ones are X Super Series boats.
Yep.
With minor tweaking.
Yep.
So
cool. All right. So hopefully that's inspired people at least to see what's going on. So
check it out on all the socials. So there's a designated website, Hamilton Island Race Week, I think it is. But yeah, just search it, Hamilton Island Race Week. You'll find everything you want to check out, and hopefully that inspires some people to, 1, come up here, or 2, take part in the offshore national titles next year.
Too easy.
Held by the Cruising Yacht Club South Australia, and then going to Port Lincoln.
I love it.
Not held, hosted initially.
You just never miss a chance to get a plug in, do you, my friend?
Oh, hell no. Don't worry about it. Oh, does anyone want to buy a skateboard? Actually, just go on Instagram, Facebook, days like this. You'll find something.
Days like this. There you go.
Ole, 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 ole. Feeling hot, hot, hot.
It's hot time with Bice.
Feeling hot, hot, hot.
Mate.
This week, I've got something special.
Okay.
We're going to go into the Jack Lloyd Lister of the week first.
Oh, we're going into the Jack Lloyd Lister of the week.
Isn't that our normal routine?
Oh, yeah. I just went hot a bit early, but yeah.
Yeah, no, that's cool.
We got I just was thinking the transition. Because we got club events.
The transition. Well, actually, I can do cold. Shall we do it a little bit? We'll go cold first.
Okay.
And an apology to our fourth leg, Harry Fisher.
Oh, yeah?
We haven't hosted our watch party yet to watch the doco, of which went live from the ground up on Friday night.
Yep.
So what we'll do, though,
I've watched it.
It's going to happen. It's going to happen. But what you and I need to do, Jordan, we need to set it up, do a proper bar karate live,
right?
Watching it with our comments. And I've spoken to Harry about doing this.
Okay.
Or do you want to give a little insight into it?
Yeah. Okay. So from the ground up is it's a video sponsored by Harkin, and I think Musto and a few others have got in there. Just might as well give them a plug for getting behind something like this. And the crew at Down Under Sail did it, and effectively they're talking about a boat called a Sharpie. Australian sailboat, like when I was in Ireland, they were talking about the National 18 a lot and just saying there's not many boats. There's only a couple of boats sort of dinghy size, this size boats with 3 people on board, and they didn't sort of, they had never heard of the Sharpie. And the Sharpie is great racing and great social scene. 3 people on a boat seems to just make things work.
When we spoke about that last week, the amount of people that wrote in to the various channels that we have talking about that element, the 3 people.
Yeah, the 3 people.
And, and we've spoken about it too on this show, because essentially with 2, you get sick of taking the piss out of one person too much. Yeah. So you need the third, just to, balance the ledger, so to speak.
Well, if you've never seen a Sharpie, right, you know how I say you pinch a piece of paper, right? Right? What if you want to visualize a Sharpie? You go to your white goods store, our mates at Andu, and you buy 6 washing machines and you get the packing boxes, right? And you join them all together, and on the one at the front, you pull it into a pointy bow. And that's what a Sharpie looks like. It's very boxy, very long, very thin, right? Like 6 meters.
The longboat, they call them.
The longboat.
I thought you were going to say you grab a piece of A4 piece of paper, cut it down the guts long ways, pinch the other bit, join the other bit to the back, and that's a Sharpie.
No. But I was just trying. It basically is very boxy, but they, I think the whole design was like from the 30s or something. But anyway, they're great fleets in Australia, huge fleets, really good racing. They're almost unbeatable in the blow. They love strong winds. They're really good in big waves and strong winds. Good fun to sail, and so the focus of the documentary is sort of how they brought in new builders and this build of a new boat, and it's just a human interest story, really. One of the guy whose boat it is, he went to the Nick Bice School of Elocution, and swearing and cursing, but
that's bullshit, mate. He was.
But it's definitely worth the time to have a look. Even if you've never seen a Sharpie before, it's worth having a look. We've all sailed them, like all of us have sailed them. So, definitely worth a look. Made in South Australia, so it's cool. It's definitely cool. It's a nice job. So anyway, we'll do a hosting party. It'll be good fun.
Yep, for sure.
A few beers, a lot of laughs.
Yeah. One thing I want to mention to you, Jordan.
Yeah.
Have you had any calls from your 505 mates for next year's Worlds to book in a slot on Barkarati pre-Worlds, just to make sure that they use the curse to their full extent?
I have had some nominations, yes.
Because as we did Stu last week, right? Just trying
Stu, yeah.
Stu, but we did it early in the piece.
Yep.
Of which, when we interviewed him, it was the eve of day 5.
Yep.
One race had been raced, and then essentially they just chucked in a whole heap of. Well, ended up with 5 or 6 races total.
6 races in the last 2 days.
6 total.
Yeah.
And essentially Stu and Callum jumped out of the blocks.
Yep.
Yeah, Caleb, and took the win.
Yeah, took the curse on beautifully, and it was good fun. It was super cool hanging out at in Ireland doing all that. The yacht club there. The thing that I needed to let you know, Bice, is that they don't have Commodore there at the Royal Cork Yacht Club. They don't have a Commodore. It's the world's oldest yacht club, 1720.
Yes,
they have the Admiral. And the Vice Admiral.
I'm changing the Constitution. That's it. First.
I knew you'd love it.
First duty.
Oh, I knew you'd love it. Oh, mate. And they've got literally a photo of every admiral they've had since 1720 on the walls. And when I was recording, that photo I sent through to the record.
Yeah.
In fact, it's the photo I used for to load it up on Instagram. That room right next to it, it's all there. It's got so much history. And
the Admiral's room.
The Admiral's room. Yeah.
The Admiral's Ball. I can see it now. So good.
Yeah.
So good.
I was just trying to. I've got to find it. I need to find the rules. I took some photos of the rules. Here we go. I think I found it. Come back. So the original rules, class racing rules, included. It's ordered that no long tail wigs, large sleeves, or ruffles to be worn by any member at the club.
I mean, but that's so obvious. That sort of stuff.
Oh,
Jordan.
sorry.
I mean, it shouldn't even be a rule.
Yeah.
It's how obvious it is.
And then it's resolved that no admiral presumed to bring more than 24 wines to his treat, for it has always been the deemed a breach. There's all sorts of rules like that in it. It's so cool.
Fantastic.
And then
you know what I'm seeing through my head here, in my head here, is like the Game of Thrones, you know, that show on Netflix or whatever it is,
right?
Is all of a sudden they just stumble across the Cork Yacht Club.
Yeah.
There's all sorts of shit going around, and here you've got the admiral, the vice admiral, with all their rules.
Yeah.
Yep.
Well, here are some of the signals that they used to make, right? So, you know, when you make signals off your boat, these are some of the useful signals that they had published in some of these books, right? A signal, have you eaten breakfast, is one of the flags, right?
Oh, yeah.
Then, can you lend me some ammunition?
Right. I see where this is going.
Can you lend me some cream? Can you lend me some gunpowder? So it's all about war and food. Can you lend me some mustard? And when we're going to be
someone had a bloody black pudding once.
Oh,
right? They need to smother it in cream, and if you don't, I'm going to shoot you.
But yeah, so it's
wow,
it's pretty cool. The admiral, the whole thing. But yeah, congratulations. So we didn't know, like obviously, as you were alluding to, when we did the interview with Stuart, we didn't know where, you know, one race in, we had no clue.
Yeah.
But I had my form guide, and we had a hunch. So I just went to those boys because I sort of had the hunch. They looked to be on form, and congratulations to them. So yeah, good work.
Bravo. Well done, guys.
Before we should go back to...
Should that lead into the Jack Lloyd Listener of the Week?
Yeah, okay, go for it.
I'm going to bring it up. Just give me a little sec here.
Okay.
Because
there's a couple of people that have come in that definitely need to be mentioned in this situation.
You're right. And apologies. I'm taking a bit of time here.
Well,
here we go.
Okay.
Here we go.
Yeah.
Our good friend who we've had on the show, Bill Goggins.
I love Bill.
Who's
Bill.
Mastermind or current
CEO.
What role is he now? He is CEO of Harkin. Worldwide.
Yep.
So, Caleb, congratulations. He sent an email and copied us in.
Correct.
With this is to Caleb, crew on 505 is due. Congratulations on becoming the 22 505 world champion, along with Stu. I'm sure you're able to find zero fun in Cork. And then there should be like a wink, wink, nudge, nudge.
Yep.
The land of constant flying Guinness and Jameson, along with, I'm sure, a few Bar Karate Sailor Lagers as mixers. Unfortunately, that wasn't there, but our main man, Jordan, was. Clearly, all your training as our E-Scow Mastery guest in Pewaukee paid off. That is the ability to send it and win championships, all with record blood alcohol levels.
Mm-hmm.
Now, if for those, I don't remember off the top of my head, but to want to go back to Bill's episode, he talks about the E-Scow quite passionately.
Yep.
I've copied in correct.
Yep.
I've copied in a lot of his crew and also put in copy Jordan from Bar Karate. Great job hosting the 5-0 Worlds. Good, mate. Haven't listened to the episode, blah, blah, blah. On a side note,
yes,
on a road trip from Wisconsin to Colorado with their whole family, I listened to somewhere around the last 6 editions of Bar Karate. My son Peter has a new swear jar that our mates must pay in on every time there is a swear word spoken. See where this is going? Yep. Please tell Bicey that Peter Goggins has a Vimo account and does take payment in Aussie dollars. So I'm thinking 6 episodes. Oh, yeah, shit, I'm deep here. This college education will be fully paid up by you guys, by you guys and my mate Dex. Blah, blah, blah. They're counting down to the Eastgale Blue Chip Championships in a month or so. I won't mention the mystery guest at this point in time, but it's going to be a big one. You guys are awesome, blah, blah, blah. So my response, Bill, Bice here, and thanks for the note. Before I start, you're welcome. Peter is now being moulded into a well-educated human, will become a role model to others in year to come. Then I've kind of written, this has potential to fully blow up in my face if he's only 5 years old.
Yeah.
So maybe that's a warning. Do not play baccarat with young children in the automobile. Anyway, no, that was good bit of banter. We've had 4 or 5 emails back and forth. We love a bit of banter when we get the time, as one would well know. Yep.
That was a good one. So that was Jack Lloyd, listener of the week. The other one is James Jimmy Jamison.
So good.
Yeah. So he put the boot into me, and it's thoroughly deserved, except for one thing. Yeah,
100%.
100%. He said greetings from.
I don't know. I haven't read it yet.
Okay, greetings from almost sunny Scotland, where it's a balmy 14 degrees Celsius at the moment. Continued best wishes to BP. He's looking forward to being back on the show. You can rip the piss straight out of him.
Good.
I was watching the one Jordan Spencer on YouTube doing his 5.0 thingy. A few observations. Those shorts, horrendous. I initially thought he'd forgot to put his trousers on. I just had a pair of board shorts, right? Just a pair of Aussie board shorts. He definitely has a face for radio. Fantastic. Here we go. And this is thoroughly deserved. On the radio subject, I'm guessing Jordan is more used to doing audio-only stuff and not adept at the visual stuff. Word of advice, when you're interviewing someone on camera, try and avoid the urge to reposition your gentleman's sausage. Yep.
Hello.
I did do that, and I remember I've just gone, oh, no. Keep up the good work, blah, 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 blah.
Well,
yes.
Jimmy, I think I know the shorts, mate, and you got a good point.
Harsh.
What you should... I hope you didn't drag your hanky out mid-interview either, just to blow the old schnozzer.
Oh, you idiot.
Good.
Cool. Shall we talk there's a couple of club event things we should probably just touch on.
Yes, we shall.
Steve Ramsden came through. Everyone's sympathetic for BP, which is fair enough too. The second Taipan GP event on Sunday, 18 September at Toukley Sailing Club. 22 boats entered, 5 races, 2 divisions, 11 boats, top 3 or 4 each division going to the gold medal race. It's just like Sail GP, reaching starts, gate at the top and bottom and 2 short laps. And Jody Shields could be up to do the commentary.
Yes.
So
Excellent.
that's a good one. So if you're onto that, so Toukley, September 19. Of course, Bill Goggins with the Eastgale and the Blue Chip Regatta coming up in about a month. So keep your eye out for that, the Porky boys. And then Heike Pulsar came through with a beauty, talking about the second, and this is right in our wheelhouse, Bicey. America's Cup, the oldest sporting
trophy
that is contested. The second oldest is the Nicholas Seinbrichoff Challenge. Sailed this Friday. It's happened. It literally has just happened in the heart of Helsinki City. I just thought, so we got the email about that from Heike. Big fan of the show, blah, blah, blah. 3-person keel boat. You need one to drive. Oh, yeah, she's talking about us. That's very nice. Love it. But the second oldest, obviously, that's our ongoing joke, the second best. Second piece of silver, same category. So Nicholas Scheinbrichoff, an active sailor, member of Commodore of Nolandska Yacht Klubben, donated the trophy that bears his name in connection with the NJK's 25th anniversary in 1886. Since 1888, the trophy has been given as a prize for the Nicholas Shinnerbirkhoff Challenge Cup winner. God, I'm so embarrassed. The Finns are going to kill us. The idea of the trophy to support Finnish sailing. Also, the family has brewed some beer over the years, which is a great combination. It's a challenging competition between yacht clubs, and it's sailed in 6 meters, which is cool. So the first part of the battle is a fleet race, 3 races, and then in the morning, and then the Challenge Club holding the trophy. We've had 13 classics, then basically a match race, I think, at the end. So basically, and the brewery, the Sinnerborough Brewery, is still sponsoring the event. And then, final match sailed after lunch. So it sounds like a pretty cool event, and it's just been on in the 6 meters. Everything about that I love. Everything
Except for one thing.
What's that?
They don't drink the booze out of the cup at the end. What he said there is because it's so precious.
Oh, yes.
The trophy.
Yes.
They essentially get it handed over, get a few photos, and it goes straight back in the cabinet.
Yep.
Hey, just got a little one about Helsinki.
Yep.
I was lucky enough to go there with Amos Sports after the 01, 02 Volvo Ocean Race.
Yep.
And when we arrived and we were doing some corporate sailing for, it was a good solid month. And by the time so far north, it's so late at night and there's all sorts of, and it was middle of summer, best time to be there. And when we arrived to town, because the boats had been seen quite a bit, if we were wearing our red jackets from the boat, we'd pretty much be allowed in any nightclub we wanted to go in and miss the lines and all those sorts of things.
Yeah. Very nice.
So you kind of feel pretty special, right?
Yeah. Anyway,
it didn't take long before, if anyone in red jackets approached this door, fucking shoot them. We do not want those bloody bastards around here.
Get rid of those idiots.
But what a fantastic place. I can imagine it now. And after seeing some of the photos that were sent about that regatta, it just, brought back some pretty good memories. So,
very cool.
Cool.
Very cool. It's a great event. So there's some good events going on, obviously heaps going on, including the world's slowest yacht race around Britain and Ireland.
Oh.
Holy dooly.
What a snore.
What
was it? The first over the line medallia,
Pip,
our mate Pip.
Yeah.
11 some days, 1,800 miles.
Yeah.
Oh,
I know.
Jeez, and I've just seen, literally would be now 14 days into it at time of recording, 15 days even.
Yeah.
And the class 40s, 1 or 2 of them have just come across the line.
I know.
Wowee.
It's a long one. It's a long one. I don't know that I can handle it, mate. It's just, oh man. But I think the problem is when they get to the turning point, like the halfway, the muckle flugger.
Yeah.
How can you go past that and concentrate? Oh, how's LA to the muckle flugger? I mean, I'm not sure what that is.
The muckle flugger. Having been up that far north, like it just tide racing through those areas as well.
Yeah.
We think we see tide.
Yeah.
They got bloody 11 meters or some bullshit. So, yeah.
No, that's cool.
So,
all right. Well, so congratulations, Pip, at least on the liners, with no idea on the results. She was sailing with Paul Larson, of course, Nick Bubb, Kevin George, and Ben Schwartz. So another person that's been on Barkarati and having the win for the line honours at least. So that makes us happy, I'll be honest. We love Pip. There is a big discussion we need to talk about. There was an email, I guess a notice went out from the Australian sailing team.
It was a press release.
Release, yep, from Australian sailing team about the Australian sailing performance pathways, and it has caused a major. There's a whole lot of really interesting and important stuff in there, but the one that has caused the controversy has been the statement that Australian sailing team will no longer send team to the Youth Worlds.
Correct.
Yeah.
Correct. It took a bit of reading to get to that piece.
Yes.
Given, and I must admit, I would have stopped reading the whole piece unless I knew, unless I didn't know. Basically, we had been given the heads up that this was happening, that no longer Australians will not be sent to the Youth Worlds, and that was the only reason I really read it. But it was kind of buried deep and it wasn't. So it was clearly written in a this is my opinion, clearly written in a way that was known that this is going to be a little bit controversial. But it's out there now for sure. Is it controversial? Geez, I don't know, because there's a whole lot of smart people in the world, and I'm sure this decision wouldn't have it's just not, a knee-jerk decision. There would have been some sort of analysis, strategy, all sorts of thing going into it, or I certainly hope so. So I'm holding judgment for now, personally.
All right. So obviously, some of our friends, we've seen some pretty intense responses, and the initial headline, I thought, oh no, what's going on here? But what they're actually going to do is they're going to stop sending teams to the World Youth Champs, but they're going to support class World Championships, right? So what that means is they're trying to build a bigger pool of youth sailors and give more opportunity, more support to a wider pool. And that, I got to say, that falls right into what I believe we should be doing.
I didn't see anything with any dollar signs next to it, so I'm not sure what that side of it looks like. And I can imagine, we've been super successful in some areas, namely, what did Nath win? 2 or 3
Youth Worlds,
Youth Worlds or something like that. And you see where he is now.
That's right.
So you can definitely see the pathway from that point of view.
Yep. So we've had a few superstars come through.
Absolutely.
But will we get more is the question, and some of the former Australian sailing coaches have reached out to us. We've had a few people come at us about this. So we don't know, but you have to, I guess, from my perspective, I honestly feel that the more opportunity we give, the broader the base, the more chance we've got. I'd like to see that. They're trying to have more squad-based approach to things, so larger groups, more knowledge, more sharing of information. One of the things that we've lost a bit in Australia is that sharing of information, working in groups, and that's what's costing us, I think, at the moment. But, I think the cream will still rise. It's just that there'll be more cream. We'll see how it plays out.
No, good point. Do you have a flag for that?
More cream. I did. Yeah, a signal. It wasn't it? Was it one of the signals?
Yeah, more cream needed.
We should. So the Australian sailing team that are listening, just reach out to the Royal Cork Yacht Club and get a copy of what that signal was.
Get the flag.
I love it. I love it. So. The other thing that's going on that I want to talk about is one of our things that we dig is the F18 Raid World Championships are going on. So basically, how can we describe this? In Sweden, effectively they do like the archipelago,
Yeah.
They race
the
around.
archipelago raid, right?
Yeah, that's it. Go on.
Essentially, a bunch of mad cat sailors just smoking around through the archipelago, dodging rocks. Got a bit of the Worrell 1000 about it in that regard. And just going fast and having a good time.
Yeah, F18s.
Apparently, there's a new rock in Denmark that's just been remarked. But,
we'll come back to that.
There has been known to be quite a bit of carnage in this race previous years. But good to see it fully back on the calendar, being well supported.
So basically, you've got 2 races a day at the moment. This is the way they're doing it, and then you stay overnight in accommodation. But you sail your F18, you get you start at one point, you finish at another point. You can get there whatever way you think is best. Then you have your lunch, and then you go to the next one. And they try and do 2 a day. And it's on right now. Predominantly, there's a Belgian team leading, but predominantly Swedes, Northern Europeans. So there's Swedes.
The ones that you really like pronouncing their names.
Not happening. But Belgian team in first, Swedish team in Jacob Lundqvist is in second, Swedish team, and then an Aussie team with Brett Burville and Bailey Skews lying in third.
Skewsy.
Yeah, the Skewsmeister with Burvo.
Burvinator.
The Burvinator. So that's cool. And then the last thing I think we need to discuss is, we have to, Sail GP. Have to talk about it.
You'll have to fill me in with a lot of details.
Okay.
What I can do is gloss over the big headline items.
Okay. What do you know?
Headline item number 1, GBR, whooshka straight into... Well, I've seen varied reports, uncharted, unmarked. Basically, they hit a big rock, right?
Yeah.
Destroyed their four-cant system, I believe.
Yeah.
And ripped the top of the rudder stock off or something like that.
Yep.
Now, I just want to put out there, I'm not at all taking the piss about someone hitting a rock, because if you haven't hit one, you're about to. Every person is going to hit one at some point in time. So that I'm not.
Yeah, we're not taking the piss.
Putting that in.
Yeah, we don't. No. We wouldn't.
But basically, put them out for the regatta.
Yeah. So real shame because I think they were lying second overall at the time. The footage, there's some footage on YouTube of it. The day one highlights of the event. I hate to say it. It doesn't. There's a yellow and black mark right there.
Jesus.
So
all right, I was wrong.
It doesn't look like it's not like a cardinal mark. There was no arrows on it, right? So, but it looks exactly like a cardinal mark, right? In the colouring, except there were no arrows on it.
No arrows.
Yeah. So I was looking at it. I'm going, is that a cardinal?
Can't go over it. Can't go under it. Got to go through it.
So, oh man, just. You could see, the whole team devastated, but obviously poor old Ainsley gets interviewed, and you could see he was genuinely devastated, and we got a lot of mates in that team, particularly our favourite tattooed man, and just a great guy, part of the shore crew, our favourite shore crew. Oh no, actually no, we've got a lot of good mates in that shore crew as well. They're all good. Anyway, we're sad for them. So, but.
Yep.
Yeah. So you don't want it to happen that way. So, okay, spot on. But
then what's happened? Then day 2, no breeze, my friend.
Yeah, no breeze at all.
Get the rugby balls out because there was no wind.
No wind at all.
And then,
bit of rain.
Do you care to update on where we ended up with it from a result point of view?
Okay, so what I always thought happened, and is that they do the practice race, right? And so they have a practice race day where there's 3 races, right? And if there's, for some reason, racing doesn't get done, they substitute those 3 races in and say, here's our series. So, but they didn't. So what they did was they did a 4-race day the last day. So so three races and then a final. So 3 boats in the final. New Zealand, remember, I think Barkarati has to claim responsibility for New Zealand's success because we took the piss out. Well, one of us may have taken the piss out of them.
No, that was when we had the special with Jody Shields. It was him.
No, it was something I said at Plymouth.
No, you're good.
I said, I did say to them at Plymouth, I made a comment. I was doing a tour with a whole bunch of people, and I said they were talking about somebody asked a question, and I said, I don't think any boat without an Australian on has ever won one of the events. And the boys...
Good stat.
Yeah, and the boys took that. They were literally right next to me when I said it, and they've whispered in my ear, we listened to that, and they've actually told me that really got them going. And but I think that all the hard work they've been doing obviously has it. But they look so good. And I must admit, after that Plymouth event, I was sitting there going, "Geez, this New Zealand team are going to be hard to get back beat anymore." They're looking glamour. The thing to note about the Aussies is they did a bit of crew changing around. So they
okay.
Yeah. So for those who didn't pick up on that, there was a few change positions. Not saying whether that was. I think that these boats are so critical that you've got to be so on your game, so critical that they were just a couple of percent off. Not saying that anyone was sailing the boat bad, but they didn't have the teamwork worked out. So so that the Aussies were experimenting, whether that was just to build up skill set or something like that, but they just missed out on that finals. French getting into the final, obviously, was a big one. And
that's
then,
a big get.
Yeah, a big get. And they were sailing super aggressive. Like their skipper, Quentin Delapierre, such a nice bloke. Like if you ever meet him, you're probably going to be one of your favourite people immediately. But geez, he was sailing aggro that whole event.
Bruno must have fired him up. Yeah.
I may have said something to upset Bruno as well.
Yeah, well.
No. In the friendly way, we're great mates. We're great mates.
Of course.
Yeah. The other thing that stands out is Denmark. Denmark were in the final again. Denmark are definitely one of the front runners.
Getting some consistency.
Yeah, they're definitely one of the front runners now. It's noticeable that they're at the front all the time now, and they're one of the front runners. So the Kiwis have stepped up, Denmark stepped up, and then it's it's.
And where's next? Saint-Tropez.
Yeah, is it? I can't remember. I think so.
Yeah.
So we've got a whole bunch of events coming up, but that's Sail GP was good. I guess the Danes would have preferred it to be, but it was good shifting conditions, good racing,
sure.
Good fun, and plenty on going on. Good.
I think that's about us, my friend.
Yeah. I think it is. It's a good one, quick one. Hopefully next week.
Speaking of rosé, just got one hand delivered from the big boss.
I can see the crew just walked in. Where's mine, Betch? Where's mine? So we're hoping BP's back next week. He was supposed to be back,
by the way. Yeah,
he was supposed to be back this week. I think.
Yeah,
he didn't get clearance. Clearance.
No clearance. So he'll just have to get back on the guitar and wind us out of this thing.
All right. Well, mate, great. Good luck this week.
Yes, thanks,
have a great one.
Yep.
Give my love to the Betch Monster and everyone you see up there. And
Barker Audience, feel free to come give us a tap on the shoulder, have a chat.
Look out for the Bice Commodores. Go and say good day to the Bice. You will have a great time. He's a good man.
Yeah.
And yep, you agree with that?
Yeah, I'm cool, man.
Cool.
Nah, cool. Absolutely.
All right. Thanks for listening, everyone.
Catch ya.
Boys in slide mode. Looks like Kempy's there as well.